The constant pursuit of wisdom is the least traveled path, yet the most rewarding in our lives. Some things are like seeds. We plant them in silence, away from curious eyes, so they can grow and flourish without interference. This is where the wisdom of the Stoics comes in. They teach us to guard, to cultivate within ourselves without rushing to show it to the world. The Stoics, great thinkers of history, knew that not everything should be shared. They valued their secrets, their accomplishments, and their lessons because they understood that by revealing too much of the true essence of things, they could be lost. Every joy and sadness, every lesson and challenge are pieces of the story we compose, and if we share everything without thinking, perhaps we stop living deeply. Just as a flower does not grow if constantly touched, our growth also needs privacy, a space of our own, where we look at our mistakes and victories and decide how we want to move forward in the best possible way. So when we don't share something, it's not to hide, but to protect. True growth comes from the balance between what we show and what we keep just for ourselves. In a world that loves to display everything it can, sometimes it can be challenging to recognize and appreciate what lies behind our achievements. In this video, we will discuss 11 topics that we recommend you keep to yourself. All are important, so stay tuned until the end of the video to find out why. 1. Don't talk about your achievements. Imagining diving into the dark and deep waters of one's own soul is like entering a mysterious and vast realm, where each current carries secrets and each depth holds mysteries. For the Stoics, this inner journey was equated with a search for wisdom and virtue, a quest that did not aim for external triumphs, but rather for understanding and constant improvement of the self. They saw each challenge, each struggle, not as battles fought in public arenas, but as confrontations in the silent stages of the spirit, where the true battle occurs. By refraining from discussing their victories overtly, the Stoics invite us to deep reflection on ego and vanity. For them, the obsession with external recognition can erect barriers between us and true virtue, turning into shackles that keep us away from the core of being. This incessant pursuit of ephemeral applause, they argued, is a path fraught with disappointments, for true satisfaction does not lie in momentary acclaim, but rather in the inner pursuit of moral excellence and peace of mind. Thus, instead of getting lost in the pursuit of external recognition, the Stoics invite us to turn inward, to explore the depths of our own soul in search of true fulfillment and contentment. And in this journey of self-discovery and self-transformation, we discover that the greatest victories are not those we achieve in the eyes of the world, but rather those we attain in the silence of our own being. The teachings of the Stoics echo like a beacon of wisdom in a turbulent sea of uncertainties. They remind us that true greatness is not measured by the fleeting glow of glory, but rather by the silent transformation that nurtures the essential values that uphold a just and compassionate society. While many seek to accumulate material wealth in cold metal vaults, the Stoics invite us to invest in true wealth, that which lies in the depths of a balanced and serene soul, enriched with virtues such as justice, compassion, and wisdom. In a world where victories are often celebrated with fanfare and defeats faced with despair, the wise Stoics teach us the value of serene acceptance in the face of life's ups and downs. They invite us to dance in harmony with the unpredictable melodies of destiny, recognizing that while we may not have control over all the notes, we can choose how we respond to them. In this remarkable inner silence, we find a powerful, deliberate choice to commit to true greatness, a greatness that manifests not in the pursuit of personal recognition, but rather in the dedication to collective well-being. For the Stoics, true majesty is not found in thrones of gold or glittering crowns, but rather in the integrity of a life lived in accordance with the highest ethical principles. They bequeath to us the understanding that humility, sincerity, and the relentless pursuit of wisdom are the essential pillars of an existence that transcends the ephemeral and embraces the eternity of moral legacy. Thus, as we embrace these timeless teachings, we discover that true greatness lies not in the pursuit of personal grandeur, but rather in the noble mission of serving others and leaving the world better than we found it. 2. Don't talk about unresolved challenges. The steps along the Stoic path to wisdom and virtue were much more than mere progressions. Each carried profound meaning. The deviations and obstacles encountered were not just barriers to be overcome, but opportunities for growth and learning. Each challenge, no matter how arduous, contributed to sculpting the soul, shaping character, and revealing the true nature of inner greatness. While many sought visible triumphs, the Stoics recognized that it was the internal battles, often invisible to others, that truly tested and strengthened a person's inner strength. However, as valuable as these inner struggles were, the Stoics advised against speaking about unresolved challenges. This apparent contradiction reveals a deep understanding of human nature by the ancient sages. They recognize that ego and pride have the power to obscure our vision, making us blind to the true virtue that resides within each of us. The incessant pursuit of external recognition and praise could indeed act as a veil that hides our true potential and diverts us from the path of authenticity and inner growth. Thus, by refraining from speaking about unresolved challenges, the Stoics invite us to look inward for true fulfillment and meaning. They remind us that greatness lies not in the ostentation of fleeting victories, but in the humility of acknowledging our weaknesses and the courage to continue striving and growing, regardless of external recognition. It is this inner journey, free from the shackles of ego and pride, that leads us to true virtue and peace of mind. In their pursuit of true greatness, the Stoics transcended the superficiality of achievements that could be displayed as fleeting trophies. For them, true glory resided in deeds that uplifted humanity, in gestures rooted in the noblest values such as justice, generosity, and wisdom. While many sought to accumulate material wealth, the Stoics valued true wealth, that which manifested in the glow of morally upright character and the serenity of a peaceful soul. Central to this understanding was the philosophy of loving fate. The Stoics did not succumb to despair in the face of adversity. Instead, they embraced it with serenity and acceptance. They understood that the true balance between victory and defeat does not lie in the incessant pursuit of external successes, but rather in the ability to face life's circumstances with equanimity, aware that the fabric of existence is woven with threads of events often beyond our control. Thus, while the world around them often engaged in a frantic pursuit of recognition and material wealth, the Stoics chose a different path. They sought true inner wealth, that which manifested in the integrity of character and compassion for others, and in doing so they left behind a legacy of serenity, wisdom, and courage, which continues to inspire and guide those who seek a life of meaning and authenticity. 3. Don't talk about your good deeds. The Stoics understood the true essence of kindness as a gentle and discreet light, akin to the flame of a candle softly illuminating a dark room. This metaphor deeply resonates with how they understood and practiced generosity. For them, true generosity did not need to be proclaimed in public squares or announced loudly from the mountaintops. It should emanate from a genuine desire to do good, without expecting praise or rewards in return. This perspective may seem strange in a culture that often values self-promotion and the flaunting of good deeds. However, the Stoics deeply understood the dangers of turning kindness into a spectacle. They understood that by constantly displaying our good deeds and seeking public recognition for them, we risk distorting the original purpose of generosity, making it more about ourselves than about the actual beneficiaries of our actions. Instead, the Stoics remind us of the importance of practicing kindness discreetly and selflessly, allowing it to gently shine in our daily interactions, without the need for applause or external recognition. This quiet approach to generosity not only preserves its integrity, but also strengthens the bonds of compassion and empathy in our community, creating an environment of mutual support and genuine care. Therefore, by adopting this Stoic perspective on kindness, we can connect more deeply with others and find true fulfillment in making a difference, even if it is in a discreet and silent manner. Each altruistic act performed can become a quest for the fleeting warmth of applause if we allow ourselves to be carried away by the desire for public recognition. However, by keeping our good deeds in the cloak of anonymity, we create a sacred space for reflection and introspection. This moment of intimate connection with ourselves allows us to question whether our actions were genuine or motivated by other interests. This secret self-analysis becomes a powerful catalyst for personal improvement, as it invites us to examine our deepest motivations and commit to greater authenticity in our interactions with the world. At the heart of Stoic philosophy was the profound belief that true kindness does not seek the spotlight. Rather, it manifests in acts of compassion, often silent and authentic. This timeless wisdom envelops us with its essence, reminding us of a fundamental truth. Often the greatest act of kindness is the one offered without expecting anything in return. It is in these moments of selfless giving that we discover the true beauty and nobility of the human spirit. By practicing kindness in a discreet and authentic manner, we transcend the limitations of the ego and connect more deeply with the core of our humanity. Through these small gestures of generosity, we create a web of compassion that envelops and nurtures us all. Therefore, by embracing the Stoic philosophy of silent kindness, we not only benefit personally, but also contribute to the creation of a more loving and supportive world for all. 4. Don't talk about your resentment. Certainly the feeling of being enveloped in a web of bitter emotions where each thread is a persistent resentment is something many of us have experienced at some point in our lives. The timeless wisdom of Stoicism invites us to a profound reflection on the invisible weight of resentment and how it can imprison us. For the ancient Stoic philosophers, nurturing resentments was like carrying an anchor that prevented the spirit from sailing freely through the waters of life. These feelings of bitterness and resentment not only keep us tied to the past, but also prevent us from fully living in the present and embracing the future with serenity and hope. However, the Stoics invite us to consider a less traveled path, a path marked by forgiveness and understanding. They remind us that while we may not have control over the actions of others, we have the power to choose how to respond to those actions. Choosing forgiveness is not only an act of generosity towards others, but also an act of self-liberation. By letting go of resentments and practicing forgiveness, we free our own spirit from the burden of the past and make room for growth, healing, and renewal. Behind this historical perspective lies an unwavering focus on virtue and self-control. The Stoics understood that true inner freedom lies not in controlling external circumstances, but rather in mastering our own reactions to those circumstances. By cultivating the virtue of forgiveness and self-control, we strengthen our ability to face life's challenges with serenity and dignity. Therefore, instead of allowing resentment to consume us, we can choose to walk the path of forgiveness and understanding. On this path, we find not only liberation from the past, but also the possibility of a brighter future full of hope. The weight of a burden on our backs, carried for a long time, is an experience many of us know all too well. Feeling the tiredness, exhaustion, and resentment that accompany this burden is like being trapped by invisible chains that limit our freedom and disturb our inner peace. It is interesting to note that resentment often arises from misunderstandings and can imprison us in a cycle of bitterness and negativity. The Stoics, with their ancient wisdom, encouraged us to look beyond appearances and seek to understand the origins of others' actions before judging them. They reminded us that forgiveness is not only a selfless gesture, but also an act of profound wisdom that frees us from the chains of resentment and anger. For these emotions, when nurtured, consume our tranquility and well-being like poisoned flames burning in our hearts. On the other hand, by choosing the path of forgiveness and understanding, we find an oasis of serenity and peace amidst the emotional storm. Guided by Stoic wisdom, we understand that forgiveness is the key to our own inner freedom. It becomes a beacon that guides us through the turbulent waters of life, offering us safe refuge in the harbor of serenity. Embracing this important lesson, we discover that sometimes the greatest strength lies in letting go, in freeing ourselves from the chains of the past and sailing towards a horizon of understanding and peace. Forgiveness is not only a gift we offer to others, but also a gift we grant ourselves, allowing us to move forward with lightness of spirit and gratitude in our hearts. 5. Don't talk about your deepest dreams. Imagining a rare and delicate seed in the palm of your hand is like contemplating our deepest dreams and most fervent aspirations. These are treasures that require protection from the strong winds and storms that may threaten their growth. The Stoics, with their ancient wisdom, offer a response to this dilemma. For them, our goals and dreams are like these precious seeds destined to be planted in the fertile depths of our souls, far from the storms of others' opinions and criticisms. How many times have we witnessed the flame of a dream extinguish prematurely when exposed to the cold of skepticism or the heat of ridicule? Within Stoic philosophy, self-sufficiency is celebrated as an invaluable gem. The Stoics understood that true wisdom and fulfillment are not trophies to be displayed before others, but rather an internal well from which one can always drink. By cultivating this inner self-sufficiency, we strengthen our ability to nurture and protect our deepest dreams, regardless of external opinions. In a world that often values external approval more than internal authenticity, the Stoics remind us of the importance of trusting our own resources and intuitions. They encourage us to find the courage to follow our own paths, even if it means swimming against the tide. Therefore, by embracing Stoic wisdom, we discover that our deepest dreams and fervent aspirations are treasures worthy of protection and cultivation. They are the pillars of our identity and purpose, guiding us toward a life of meaning and authenticity. And by nurturing these dreams within ourselves, we find a perennial source of inspiration and motivation capable of sustaining us in times of challenge and uncertainty. The pursuit of external approval is often a complex labyrinth that leads us away from our true purposes and meanings. Within the currents of Stoic philosophy, we find a wise compass that guides us in navigating our ambitions and aspirations. The Stoics deeply understood the importance of humility and balance in the pursuit of our grandest goals. While healthy ambition propels our efforts toward achievement, arrogance, on the other hand, can blind us to life's deeper realities. By choosing silence about our grand objectives, the Stoics did not demonstrate timidity, but rather a refined wisdom that recognized the need to walk with humility. They understood that ostentation and fanfare often obscure the true essence of our accomplishments. Instead of shouting our dreams from the mountaintops in search of fleeting recognition, the Stoics invite us to protect them zealously, to cultivate them carefully, and to witness their flourishing in silent and majestic glory. This reverent approach to our deepest objectives is more than a simple act of modesty. It is a powerful reminder of the strength that resides within each of us. The Stoics teach us that the most precious treasures are often those we keep only for ourselves, where we find a sacred space to nurture our passions and pursue our dreams with silent and unwavering determination. Therefore, by following the Stoic legacy, we are invited to embrace the inner journey toward authenticity and fulfillment. In a world flooded with the noise of flashy achievements, finding meaning and purpose in our own inner quietude is a virtue that resonates beyond the ages, an eternal echo of Stoic wisdom that continues to illuminate the path of true human greatness. 6. Don't talk about your next steps. The Stoics adopted a similar approach to that of a chess master, moving their pieces silently while their opponents attempted to decipher their next moves. This strategy was not just a matter of gameplay, but a life philosophy grounded in a profound understanding of human nature and the complexities of social interactions. They recognized that by revealing every step of their lives, they would be subject to the capricious winds of external judgment, often laden with criticism, envy, and even malicious intentions. At the core of Stoic philosophy lies the virtue of self-sufficiency, the idea that our true strength does not come from the approval or applause of others, but from the strengthening of our internal core of confidence and authenticity. By keeping their life strategies to themselves, the Stoics weren't just hiding their plans. They were protecting their integrity and strengthening their resolve. They understood that true greatness doesn't reside in the public display of our goals and plans, but rather in the silent and relentless execution of those plans, regardless of the tides of opinion that flow around them. This discreet and cautious approach of the Stoics teaches us to value the wisdom of secrecy and the importance of protecting our own interests and aspirations. It reminds us that not every battle needs to be fought publicly, and that sometimes the greatest triumph is achieved when we keep our strategic moves to ourselves, revealing them only when the timing is right. Therefore, by following the example of the Stoics, we are encouraged to cultivate our own inner strength, trusting in our own wisdom and discernment to guide our steps, regardless of external opinions. And in doing so, we find not only a sense of peace and authenticity, but also a powerful source of strength and resilience that allows us to face life's challenges with courage and determination. Humility is a subtle yet profoundly significant quality that the Stoics fervently advocated as a fundamental part of a well-lived life. They recognized that revealing grandiose strategies could easily be interpreted as a sign of arrogance, a triumphant announcement of superiority over others. Therefore, by opting for discretion, they found a delicate balance between ambition and humility, ensuring that their steps were firm but not presumptuous. This approach reveals a rich perspective on the value of secrecy within the Stoic tradition. For the Stoics, protecting their goals was not just a practical strategy, it was a way of strengthening their own being and honoring their self-sufficiency. In a world where external validation often seems to be the currency, the Stoics invite us to look inward, find our own internal compass, and follow our own path with confidence and wisdom. By embracing this Stoic vision, we are inspired to cultivate authentic humility, which is not a denial of our abilities or aspirations, but rather a sincere acknowledgement of our shared humanity and the complexity of life. We find the courage to pursue our dreams with determination while remaining aware of the limitations of our knowledge and the uncertainties of the future. Therefore, by adopting this balanced approach to life, we discover not only a source of inner strength and resilience, but also a deeper connection with our own selves and the world around us. And in doing so, we follow the example of the Stoics, walking with humility and integrity toward a life of meaning, purpose, and authenticity. 7. Do not speak about your doubts and uncertainties. In the Stoic journey towards self-sufficiency and wisdom, the principle of silence about doubts and uncertainties plays a central role. Instead of allowing doubts to spread like weeds, the Stoic mind resembles a vast forest, where each tree represents a doubt and each shadow an uncertainty. Within this inner landscape, instead of proclaiming their hesitations to the world, the Stoic chooses silent introspection. They turn inward, seeking answers within their own soul. This paradigm invites us to recognize that confidence is not a public display but an internal beacon that illuminates our path. Instead of constantly exposing our doubts to the world, the Stoic understands that such action is like subjecting a lighthouse to a torrential rain. There is a risk of extinguishing its light. Instead, they find the solidity needed not to be influenced by others' opinions and judgments. Furthermore, the metaphor of the Stoic forest can be expanded to illustrate how, as we delve into our own internal questions, we encounter a diversity of trees, each representing different aspects of our doubts and uncertainties. Some of these trees may be deeply rooted beliefs, while others may be bushes of momentary uncertainties. When facing this internal landscape, the Stoic becomes a skillful navigator, learning to navigate around obstacles and embrace the journey towards wisdom and personal authenticity. Modesty, a virtue often seen as an external quality, actually plays a crucial role as a protective shield for the spirit. While many may consider it as a form of humility before others, its true value lies in its ability to preserve inner dignity. In a world filled with uncertainties and turbulence, bearing all doubts indiscriminately can erode the soul, leaving it stripped of its essence. Thus, it is essential to discern wisely when and with whom to share our vulnerabilities. While the clamor of the external world often seems to offer immediate solutions, true Stoic wisdom reminds us of the importance of silence and introspection. Within the silent chambers of the heart and mind, we find a sanctuary of deep reflection where the answers to the deepest questions echo. The practice of harboring certain uncertainties away from public view allows us to nurture a more intimate connection with our own essence. Instead of feeling pressured to proclaim all doubts and uncertainties, the Stoic journey invites us to delve into the tranquility of silence, where modesty and introspection accompany us as reliable guides. In this context, Stoic wisdom emerges as a whispering voice of precious advice, even in the most turbulent moments of doubt. There is no need to shout our uncertainties to the world. Instead, by embracing silence and internal reflection, we find a safe route through the dense forest of uncertainties that permeate our lives. Thus, guided by the internal beacon of our own confidence and understanding, we discover the transformative power of silent reflection and internal trust bequeathed by the Stoics. 8. Criticizing others is like throwing stones into a calm lake, creating ripples that disturb the serenity of the water. The metaphor of criticizing others as throwing stones into a calm lake, disturbing its serenity, offers a powerful reflection on the Stoic approach to human interactions. The Stoics, with their profound understanding of human nature, recognized that engaging in judgments and criticisms was not only fruitless, but also counterproductive. Instead of wasting precious energy on matters beyond their sphere of influence, the Stoics chose to extend a hand rather than point fingers. They embraced empathy and compassion, understanding that each individual carries within them a universe of internal and external experiences, struggles and triumphs, joys and pains. This enriched perspective empowered them to recognize the shared humanity in all of us. Superficial criticisms and hasty judgments were seen as a failure to appreciate the depth and complexity of the human condition. Instead of diminishing the other, the Stoics sought to understand them, recognizing that each person is a unique chapter in a vast and intricate story. This approach not only nurtured more meaningful relationships, but also fostered a sense of connection and mutual understanding, essential for a truly enriching life. The Stoics not only understood the corrosive effects of criticism, but also recognized that instead of building bridges, it often erected walls, creating barriers between people and undermining the pursuit of tranquility and harmony. In this sense, they embraced the philosophy that harsh words and hasty judgments were not paths to peace, but rather to discord and division. The timeless message of Stoic wisdom resonates even today. We must be diligent guardians of our words and thoughts. Instead of fixating our gaze on the faults of others, we are prompted to direct our gaze to our own reflection, constantly seeking growth and personal virtue. In a world where criticism is often thrown with ease and swiftness, Stoic teachings challenge us to embrace understanding, acceptance, and kindness as fundamental principles of our interaction with others. In this journey of self-improvement, the Stoics encourage us to be agents of positive change, casting stones of empathy into the lake of humanity. By doing so, we are able to appreciate the waves of positivity and connection that these actions generate, thus creating a virtuous cycle of compassion and mutual growth. 9. Do not speak about your moments of solitude. The Stoic approach to solitude offers a profound perspective on the value of inner quietude in a world that often values constant stimulation and interaction. While modern society tends to associate solitude with an emptiness to be filled, the Stoics found in it a source of strength and introspection. For the Stoics, solitude was not seen as a state to be avoided, but rather as a sanctuary where the mind could dance freely, unbound by external influences and opinions. Instead of feeling isolated during these moments of seclusion, they felt connected to a vast internal universe, rich in insights and profound reflections. It was in this space of quietude that the most meaningful thoughts emerged, untainted by the incessant noise of the external world. In an age where validation on social media often dictates our interactions and priorities, Stoic philosophy challenges us to rethink these notions. By distancing ourselves from the constant need for exposure and external approval, we discover a sacred space where the soul can find peace and renewal. It is in this profound silence that we are able to tune into the melody of our essence, a song that needs not be shared, but only experienced in its pure and true essence. 10. Do not speak about lessons unlearned. Stoic philosophy offers a profound insight into how we approach our mistakes and failures, challenging the predominant narrative that we should hide our weaknesses and project only an image of perfection. Instead, the Stoics invite us to embrace our mistakes not as signs of weakness, but as precious opportunities for self-development and personal growth. In our contemporary society, many of us feel the pressure to exhibit only our triumphs and hide our defeats. However, the Stoics show us a different approach, one that acknowledges the depth and richness that can arise from accepting our own failures. By choosing to keep our unlearned lessons private, we are not shirking our responsibilities or hiding from our failures, but rather protecting ourselves for a deep and intimate process of reflection. Each mistake for the Stoics did not represent a dead end, but rather the beginning of a new chapter in the journey toward virtue and wisdom. Just as an artist turns a mistake into a crucial part of their work, the Stoics turned their failures into solid foundations for personal growth. In a world where oversharing and exposure are common, the Stoic stance reminds us of the value of introspection and the dignity of silence. It is in moments of deep and reserved reflection that we find true opportunities for growth and self-improvement, thus honoring the legacy of Stoic wisdom. 11. Do not speak about your deepest plans. The understanding that there is no need to shout your plans to the world is a powerful weapon. The Stoics understood something that many of us forget, that discretion is not a weakness but a strength. For them, each plan or goal was like a delicate seed that needed to be nurtured and protected. By avoiding the premature exposure of these plans, they ensured they had the ideal environment to grow and flourish, away from the storms of doubt, envy, or public scrutiny. Today, in an era of excessive exposure, where every move is documented and shared, Stoic philosophy invites us to rethink how we handle our ambitions. It shows us that true power often lies in what is kept secret, not because we are evasive, but because we recognize the importance of nurturing our dreams in a safe environment. Silence for the Stoics was not empty. It was full of possibilities and hope. It was the fertile ground where their dreams could grow undisturbed. So, amidst the chaos of our modern era, perhaps we can find inspiration in these ancient sages. By protecting our deepest plans, we allow them to develop at their own pace, free from interference. And in doing so, we may discover the true magic, not in what we declare to the world, but in what we quietly achieve in the recesses of our determination. Thank you for watching. Your support is essential for us to continue sharing knowledge and inspiration with everyone. If you have suggestions for future video content, please leave them in the comments. We value your contribution, and it guides us in our mission to bring increasingly rich and impactful content. Here's a video discussing anti-Stoic habits that should be removed from your life. Watch it and let me know what you think.